Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our math online classroom, and please don't forget to click the subscribe button. Okay. So we are still with our lesson 3 that talks about operations on functions, but this time we are going to discuss about multiplication. And our objectives are the following: perform multiplication of functions, review factoring, and solve problem involving functions. Okay. So let's start here. In multiplying expression, take note that we add the exponents of the same coefficients, okay? So let's have this illustration. 4x squared y cubed times 3x y squared, we will have, first we will group no, the coefficients. We have the numerical coefficients, the x and the y. So first we have 4 and 3 as our numerical coefficient. And for our x, we have 2 plus 1 because we have x squared and x, okay? So that's why we have 2 plus 1. And for our variable y, we have y cubed and y squared. That's why we have 3 plus 2, okay? So next is we go simplify. 4 times 3 will give us 12, and 2 plus 1 will give us x cubed, okay? And 3 plus 2 will give us y to the fifth power. And as our final answer, we will have 12x cubed and y to the fifth power, okay? Pero kapag sanay ka na, you can go directly like 4 times 3 is 12, x squared times x is x cubed, y cubed times y squared will give us y5. So no need na kailangan mag-groupings, no? Kapag sanay ka na. Okay, you can go directly. Okay, so that was our final answer. Okay, next. Let f and g be functions. Their product, denoted by f times g, is the function denoted by f times g of x is equal to f of x times g of x. So yan yung kanyang form. So number 3 na tayo kasi our number 1 is addition, number 2 is subtraction, and of course our number 3 for today is the product or the multiplication. Let's have this illustration or example number 1. F of x is equal to 2x and our g of x is equal to x minus 3. Okay, so f times g of x is equal to 2x times x minus 3, and we will multiply using our distributive property of multiplication. Okay, so madali lang, ganito lang siya. 2x times x is equal to 2x squared. Okay? So x times x is 1 plus 1. Diba? Yung exponent, that's why we have squared. So 2x squared and 2x times negative 3 will give us negative 6, and that will be our final answer. Okay? So ganun lang kadali yung ating distributive property. Again, ina-add natin ang exponent ng the same coefficients. Okay, next. Example number 2. Find the product of f of x is equal to x plus 3 and g of x is equal to x minus 7. So f times x times g of x will give us x plus 3 times x minus 7. And this time, we are going to use FOIL method, which is na-discuss natin in our addition from presentation. So FOIL stands for first, out, inside or inner, and the last. Okay? So let's do it. X times x will give us x squared. X times negative 7 will give us negative 7x. And 3 times x will give us positive 3x. And 3 times negative 7 will give us negative 21. Then, we combine like terms. Ano yung pwede makombine dyan? It's negative 7x and positive 3x that will give us negative 5x. So our final answer will be x squared minus 5x minus 21. Okay, that's example number 2. Sige. So before we proceed with our rational expression, let's have first the review. Okay, kasi importante na malaman nyo to. What's that? It's all about factoring. Okay, kasi magagamit natin ito mamaya when we are dealing with our rational expression in finding their product. Okay, so how would you factor 6? Okay, di ba pag sinabi natin factor, ano yung mga numbers that when we multiply, it will give us that product. At yung product natin is 6. So ano yung mga factors ng 6? And these are 2 times 3, or 3 times 2, and 6 times 1 or 1 times 6 and vice versa. Okay, so meron pa ba? Meron. It could be negative 2 times negative 3. Kasi diba, negative times negative will give us positive. So negative 2 times negative 3 will give us positive 6, or it could be vice versa, negative 3 times negative 2. What else? Negative 6 and negative 1, or negative 1 times negative 6. Okay, still, these are factors of positive 6. All right, sige. How about 2x plus 4? How are we going to factor 2x plus 4? Okay, so simply lang. What is the common factor of 2x and 14? So ano yung number na pwedeng makadivide sa 2x and 14? Okay, so that is positive 2. Very good. Next, what will you multiply? What will you multiply to 2 to get 2x? So ano yung ita-times mo sa 2 para makakuha ka ng 2x? That is x. Very good. And how about what will you multiply to 2 to give or to get 14? Okay, what will you multiply to 2 to get 14? That is positive 7. Okay, so that is the factor of 2x plus 14. So para malaman if your answer is correct, now you have to distribute you will use distributive property of multiplication para malaman kung tama yung factor mo. So example, 2 times x will give us 2x, and 2 times 7 will give us positive 14. So ibig sabihin, pag tama siya, therefore your factors are correct. Okay, so let's proceed. How about 3x squared minus 18x? Okay, what is the factor of 3x squared, or common factor of 3x squared and 18x? Ano siya? Okay, ito. So 3x. Okay, next. What will you multiply to 3x to get 3x squared? Ano ita-times mo sa 3x para maging 3x squared? Of course, still x. Okay, next. What will you multiply to 3x to get negative 18x? What will you multiply to 3x to get negative 18x? Okay, and that is negative 6. Very good. And of course, to check if your factors are correct, distributive property of multiplication, 3 times x will give us 3x squared, and 3x times negative 6 will give us negative 18x. Okay, so ganun lang siya kadali. Okay, next example. Factor x squared minus 3x minus 10. This is an example of a quadratic expression or function. Okay, so let's factor. What is the factor of x squared? Okay, that is x and x, kasi x times x is x squared. Next, let's factor first the last term, or the negative 10. What are the factors of negative 10? These are negative 10 and 1, negative 10 and negative 1, 5 and negative 2, negative 5 and negative 2. All these factors, when multiplied, their answer will be negative 10. Lahat yan is 10. But then, the question is, saan dyan sa mga factors na yun yung gagamitin mo? Okay, so paano siya malalaman? So pipili tayo dyan using or with respect to our middle term, yung number na nasa gitna. At sa x squared minus 3x minus 10, saan dyan yung number na nasa gitna? And that is negative 3. So saan dyan sa mga factors ng negative 10 na kapag we combine or add will give us negative 3? Okay, so yung negative 10 and 1 ba? Hindi, kasi it will give us negative 9. Negative 10 and negative 1, hindi rin, kasi 10 plus negative 1 will give us positive 8, positive 9. 5 plus negative 2 will give us positive 3. Okay, so ano na lang? Ito. So negative 5 and positive 2. Why? Because negative 5 plus 2 will give us negative 3. Okay, so that's why yung factors ng negative 10 na gagamitin natin is negative 5 times negative 2. Okay, so our factor, we have negative 5 and negative 2. Naintindihan ba yun? Okay, we will factor first the last term, and then pipili tayo ng factors with respect to the middle term or number na nasa gitna. Okay, so let's go with our example. And of course, to check if your factors are correct with our quadratic equation, of course, you have to do the FOIL method. Okay, sige. Let's have example number 3. Find the product of the fractions 10 over 21 and 15 over 8. Okay? So, we'll do the factoring para mas madali. But actually, you can multiply directly like 10 times 15 and 21 times 8. You can do like that. But then it will give you a higher number. So, yung gagawin natin is we will factor first. Okay? So, factor first the 10 over 21, and that will be 2 times 5 and 3 times 7. 2 times 5 is 10, 3 times 7 is 21. So, finactor natin. Okay, next. 15 and 8. What are the factor of 15 and 8? So we have 3 times 5 and 2 times 4. Okay? So ibig sabihin, na-factor sa ating dalawa, we can now simplify our answer. So paano? Let's do the cancellation. Ika-cancel lang natin. So ano ba yung numbers na pwede natin ma-cancel dyan? It's 2 and 2. We have 3 and 3. So bakit natin siya kinancel? Kasi kung i-multiply natin, divide natin, 2 divide by 2 will give us 1. So that's why pwede natin siyang i-direct na i-cancel natin. Okay? So let's move on. So we'll have 25 over 28. Paano? Kasi yung natira sa taas is 5 and 5. So 5 times 5 is 25. Sa denominator naman is 7 times 4. That will give us 28. Okay? And that will be our final answer. Okay? So let's go with our example number 4. Okay? Multiply x plus 3 over 5x and 5x over x squared minus 9. Okay? So in our problem, in our rational expression, notice that our first factor, the x plus 3 and 5x, ay hindi na kailangan i-factor. It is no need to be factored out. So we will just copy x plus 3 over 5x. Also, with our second expression or another factor, yung 5x natin dyan is hindi na rin kailangan nating i-factor. So, just copy 5x. So, ano na lang i-factor natin? Yung denominator ng 5x, that is x squared minus 9. Okay? So, let's factor. The factor of x squared is x, and the factor of negative 9, of course, ano yung mga numbers na pag multiply natin, the answer is negative 9. These are negative 9 times 1, negative 9 times negative 1, and negative 3 times negative 3. Again, sa lahat ng factors ng negative 9 dyan, ano yung gagamitin natin? Ano nga? With respect to our middle term. But then, in our x squared minus 9, wala siyang middle term. So, ibig sabihin, pag walang middle term, ibig sabihin it is equal to 0. Okay? So, 0 yung middle term na niya. So, sa mga factors ng negative 9, saan dyan yung magbibigay ng 0 na sagot kapag combine. Okay? Is it negative 9 and 1? Is it 9 and negative 1? Or is it 3 and positive 3? Saan dyan yung magbibigay ng 0? Of course, that is negative 3 and 3. Okay? So, kasi when we combine negative 3 plus 3 will give us 0. Therefore, then yung factor natin na gagamitin. It's negative 3 and positive 3. Okay? Klaro ba? Sige. Now, let's proceed with cancellation. Okay? So, anong kakancel natin dyan? Yung magkapareho. Of course, we have x plus 3 and x plus 3 and 5x and 5x. Okay? So, anong natira sa numerator? Wala. Okay? So, again, lahat yan may, diba? May 1, sabi ko. Therefore, our numerator will be equal to 1 at yung denominator natin na natira is x minus 3. Kasi nga, okay, baka magtaka kayo bakit may 1. Kasi nga, when we cancel x plus 3 and x plus 3 means x plus 3 divided by x plus 3, that will give us 1. Same as true with 5x and 5x. That's why our numerator is 1. Okay? And that will be our final answer. Okay, next. Example number 5. Find the product of x minus 7 over x squared plus 4x plus 4 and x squared over x plus 2 over x squared minus 5x minus 14. Okay? So in this problem, our numerators x minus 7 and x plus 2 ay hindi na kailangang i-factor out. Okay? So just copy. So ano yung factor natin yung kanilang mga denominators. Okay? So let's start with the denominator of x minus 7. Okay? So what is the factor of this one? Okay, start tayo sa x squared. X squared, factors of course, x and x. Next, factor of 4 with respect to the middle term. Ano yung factor ng 4 na kapag ina-add natin or combine will give us positive 4? Is it negative 2 times negative 2 or is it 2 times 2? Kasi negative 2 times negative 2 will give us positive 4. 2 times 2 also is equals to positive 4. So ano dyan sa dalawa yung gagamitin natin? Okay, of course, yung nasa baba, that is 2 times 2. Bakit hindi pwede yung negative 2 times negative 2? Kasi when we combine negative 2 times negative 2 will give us negative 4. Eh, yung middle term natin sa baba is positive 4. So that's why yung gagamitin natin is positive 2 and positive 2. Okay, so our factor will be positive 2 and positive 2. Okay, next. Let's factor out the denominator of x plus 2. Okay, so x squared, factor of x squared is x and x. The factor of negative 14 with respect to negative 5. So ano yung factors ng negative 14 with respect to negative 5? So we have negative 7 and 2, or is it 7 and negative 2? Okay? Hindi ko na include yung 14 times 1 kasi masyadong malayo na siya sa negative 5. So ito na yung pagpipilian natin, negative 7 times 2 and 7 times negative 2. Saan dyan yung magiging sagot mo? Okay, of course, that is negative 7 and positive 2. Positive 2. Why? Kasi when we combine negative 7 and negative 2, yung sagot niya magiging negative 5. Kasi itong si 7 times plus negative 2 will give us positive 5. So since yung sign ng ating middle term is negative, therefore, kung ano yung malaking number, dun dapat mapupunta yung negative sign. So that is negative 7 and negative 2. So our factor will be negative 7 and positive 2. Okay, so we can now move on or move to cancellation. Okay, cancellation na tayo. Cancel negative 7 and negative 7, positive 2 and positive 2. Okay, so yung natira na lang for our numerator is 1 kasi all of them are being cancelled. So 1 na lang natitira. Sa baba is we have x plus 2 and x plus 2. Or you could have your final answer as 1 over x squared plus 4x plus 4. When you multiply x plus 2 and x plus 2. Okay? So pwede rin siyang maging final answer. Okay? Depende sa hinihingi ng teacher. Okay? So let's move on with example number 6. Find the product of x squared minus 4x minus 5 over x squared minus 3x plus 2 and x squared minus 5x plus 6 over x squared minus 3x minus 10. So lahat sila ay quadratic, no? So ibig sabihin, lahat sila ifa-factor mo isa. Okay? So let's start with x squared minus 4x minus 5. Okay? What is the factor of x squared? Of course, x and x. What is the factor of negative 5 with respect to our middle term that is negative 4x? Okay. So ano yung sagot mo? What is the factor of negative 5 when combined will give you negative 4? Okay? That is, okay, negative 5 times 1. Okay? So negative 5 times 1. Kasi when we combine, negative 5 and 1 will give us negative 4. And if we multiply negative 5 times 1 will give us negative 5. Therefore, our factor is negative 5 and negative 1. Okay? Next, in denominator. What is the factor of x squared? Of course, x and x. Next, what is the factor of positive 2 with respect to the middle term that is negative 3? So ano yung number na i-multiply mo? Ang sagot ay 2, pero kapag in-add siya, ang labas ay negative 3. What's your answer? Of course, that is negative 2 and negative 1. So negative 2 times negative 1 will give us positive 2. But when we add negative 2 plus negative 1, it will give us negative 3. So therefore, that is the appropriate factors ng positive 2 with respect to our negative 3 na middle term. Therefore, our answer is x minus 2 and x minus 1. Okay. Next, numerator na x squared minus 5x plus 6. Okay, so the factor of x squared, of course, is x and x. And for the factor of positive 6 with respect to negative 5 or sa middle term, ano yung factor ng 6 na kapag in-add natin, ang sagot is negative 5? Ano yan? Okay, of course, that is negative 3 and negative 2. Kasi negative 3 times negative 2 will give us positive 6 and negative 3 plus negative 2 will give us negative 5. So siya yung pinakatama, pinaka-appropriate na gamitin bilang factor. Okay, so we'll use negative 3 and negative 2. Okay, so last na, yung denominator na. Okay, so factor of x squared, of course, x and x. Factor of negative 10 with respect to negative 3. Ano yung i-multiply or what numbers na minamultiply natin ang sagot ay negative 10 pero kapag na-add siya or na-combine, ang sagot is negative 3. Ano yon? Is it 5 and 2 or 10 and 1? Of course, that is negative 5 and positive 2. Bakit? Kasi negative 5 times 2 is negative 10. And when we add negative 5 and 2, yung sagot niya is negative 3. Therefore, yan yung factor na swak sa ating problem. So we will use negative 5 and positive 2 as our factor. Next, let's move on to cancellation. Cancel natin yung negative 5 at negative 5. What else? Negative 2 and negative 2. Okay, so yung matitira na lang is sa numerator, we have x plus 1 and x minus 3. At sa baba naman is x minus 1 and x plus 2. Actually, this equation or solution could already be your final answer. Pero when your teacher requested na simplify, so gagawin mo is x plus 1 times x minus 3 sa numerator at sa baba na x minus 1 and x plus 2, i-multiply mo din siya using FOIL method that will give us these answers, okay? And that will be your final answer. Kung hinihingi ni teacher is yung simplified answer. Pero kung gusto nyo lang malaman is yung marunong ka ng process, pwede na yung nasa taas, okay? So that's it, our multiplication of rational expressions. Of course, our references. And of course, if you want the soft copy of the presentation, just message me in my Gmail account. God bless.